Jones, for those of you that don't know me. Uh, E is in Edward, RROL Jones. I want to get straight to the point. I'm the president of the National Black Business Alliance, founding president of the National Black Business Alliance. You're not going to find out a whole lot about it because it's been in development and we're releasing information now, but don't let that fool you. Don't let that fool you. It's the door in the dark that you hit your head on that creates the damage. You didn't see it coming. We are developing, let me go back to this. We are Project 2025.5 in the National Black Business Alliance. We are developing a boycott, a Black male boycott of the elections in 2024 and 2026. Let me get straight to the point. What's the reason? Ineffective Black leadership. Ineffective Black leadership. The Black community government is organizing with our youth component as well to actually return the reins of government back to the people as far as their opinion. We're not talking about starting another government outside of the United States, working within the guidelines of the United States government, gladly working within it, which means what we will do is simply this. Like any other intelligent people, we will purge our leadership to identify those leaders who have been ineffective, to identify those leaders who have been betrayers of the Black community, to identify those leaders who, as I said, betrayers of the Black community. I don't know what sellout means. We call people sellouts only because they adopt certain types of lifestyles or whatnot, and they may associate too closely with non-Blacks. I don't consider that a sellout. It's when you don't recognize where your people are from, what they're in, what their struggle is, and you have now moved on to higher elevations with those who can support a nicer lifestyle for you, then you may be a sellout. Let me also say this, that I have very little interest in political correctness as far as this is concerned. The reason is I'm pretty pissed off. Not pissed at anyone in particular, but pissed off at the situation in which I'm finding myself. I'm looking for Black leadership and can't find it. I look around at the people that are labeled to be leaders and find them just woefully lacking. Woefully lacking. Let's use a basketball paradigm to understand some of the things I'm talking about. I'm returning to the city of Houston, and the things I'm saying right now are indication of that return. There's a new sheriff in town, homeboys. You Black men there in my wonderful new city of Houston have not stepped up to the plate strong enough to do what I'm doing right now, which is organizing the Black community, which is invigorating the Black community, which is communicating with the brothers in the hood and communicating with the brothers in the hall in the Capitol. You've been woefully lacking in general, or to be able to do it in a citywide capacity. I'm doing it in the citywide capacity as a pilot for what's being released nationally. For needing to do what we're doing right now. I'm apologizing for not having done more to free some of you from the plantation mindset that seems to be extremely prevalent in my beloved new city of Houston. Love it. Now, I'm not talking about everybody. I'm just talking about the people to which it applies. Let me go over this first, then we're going to go down step by step because we're about to name names. Estonians complaining on Facebook and other places, but they fail to name names, or they will name the names of the people that are most prominently named, so it has no real effect. So we're going to name some names, but not only name names, we're going to work on that purge. We're going to work on evaluating the people that are supposed to be our leaders, making a determination whether we want them to continue to be our leaders based on their fruits. This is biblical. The Bible says, by their fruits you will know them. By their produce you will know them. So, Black leaders in Houston, we kindly ask you, what have you produced? How has it impacted Black children? What meaningful impact have you had on Black women? What positive impact and productive impact have you had on Black men? If you can't answer those questions with any real intelligent, meaningful answer, then we can work together still, because that's the past. But if your mindset does not allow you to make some changes, then we're just going to remove you. Notice I wasn't asking you what we thought you wanted to do, because you're not the issue. What you need to do, politicians, is say this about the politicians in Houston. You guys run a pretty tight game, but you're running a lot of game on some pretty weak and trusting constituents. They're weak-minded and they trust you. But while you might be running a pretty good game, is the new sheriff in town, homies and homettes. I've been here for a minute, and my objective is to purge weak Black leaders in the city of Houston and surrounding areas. Now, let me tell you how we're going to do that and why. No disrespect meant. And I definitely don't want to tolerate the disrespect that some of you guys, not all of you, have been doling out to us. You can keep that shiznit to yourself. Michael Jordan told Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, whom I love, that there was a new sheriff in town. I'm telling you the same thing. And I'm telling you the same thing knowing my skill set. There's a new sheriff in town. How many times am I going to have to repeat that? I'm going to repeat it until you get it. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that somebody needs to run the show. Somebody needs to call the plays. Somebody needs to take care of the people that they're responsible for. And when I was born in this beautiful Black skin and found out that I had a penis and that made me a male, and that I'm supposed to be a leader and a warrior in my community, those thoughts never left my mind. I wasn't raised by people that were wussies. They were kind. They were credible. They were just who they were. Grandparents, parents raised during the Harlem Renaissance, New York. Just came back from New York. That's my roots. Those are my roots. Love my city. I hadn't been back for a while. I went back in a few months ago, and I fell back in love with it. So now it's on my schedule to be there at least once or twice a year, and it's on my schedule to take some of you guys back there too. We stayed downtown Manhattan. You know that's not cheap, and I didn't have any money. Never do, but I have influence. And so now we're going to exert some of this influence in our Black community so that you guys that don't have any money either will learn how to use your influence and be able to do some tremendous things because somebody showed you how to do it. Now, a lot of your traditional thinkers are trying to make sure you go to school and learn how to read and write and do arithmetic. And as we look at the statistics, it seems that a number of you are failing. A number of your children are failing at that. The school system is not educating them like they could. In some states, they are discouraging the teaching of Black history. There's so many problems in the school district. I understand. I've been in it on many sides of it, from administration to outside as a union rep, as a VP, as a teacher, as a special education instructor, as a curriculum designer. Been there, done that. And the schools people complain and say that they're failing, but they're not failing. I told you I'm not concerned about political correctness. And I know that when you say that the schools are failing, I know you mean well. but you must be crazy. Don't you know the schools are doing exactly what they've been prepared to do? Graduating idiots. Yeah, I said it. Idiots. People that can't read or write, spell, do math. That's not everybody, just the ones that they graduate that can't do those things. And there's far too many of them. And then I see our black parents, many going around talking about how the school district did not teach their child to read. They need their behind whipped. If they can read, their child should be able to read. If your neighbor can read, your child should be able to read. If there's a church on your block, your child should be able to read. And you need your behind whip if your child is normal and healthy and can't read. Now, if they can't do physics, that's a horse of a different color. You might need the school district for that or private tutoring. But if they can't read, that's your fault. If your child doesn't know how to handle money and finances, it's not the school's fault. That's your fault. If you don't know how to take care of your business financially, and I am not claiming that I do, I know a few things, quite a few things, a whole lot more than the average person. I know that. And I know enough to know that I don't really know a whole lot, but I know something. I can function. So now with this Black community government, let me go over this thing. I have what we call a proposed project. And one of the things that we do in our program is to teach our people how to analyze, how to think. I was in a doctoral program on applied decision making, applied management and decision sciences. And basically, the degree was about thinking, how to use certain tools to be able to think intelligently, credibly. And I'm not talking about being smart, but we're just talking about structuring, like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. See, thinking like that, orderly, linearly, but at the same time being able to think where you don't have to go orderly or linearly. You can do things randomly. You can make some changes in things. That's what real education does for you. It teaches you how to think. I'm not talking about a degree. I am not talking about a degree. Raise your hand if you know anyone with a degree and still about as stupid as if they never even read a book. I feel a little bad using these terms, but I sure do feel so good. Speaking from my heart, because I'm not running for anything. I'm not begging you for anything. I'm trying to help folks like I have always helped. But the difference now is my platform might have been a small church. It might have been a classroom. It might have been in a school district or on a campus. It may have been at one time, it was on radio. I did pretty well doing radio in Houston, those kind of things. But now I work for me. And the number one bucket list item that I have is to work for me, helping Black people. That's always been on my bucket list. And I have a history of accomplishments just in daily life, being concerned about Black people. So whether you agree or disagree with the things that I'm talking about, whether it helps Black people, listen, I'm not following you. Where have you led me as a Black person? Where? Where? To be a Kamala Harris voter? That's where you took me? Where did you take me? What have you done, leaders, that I should listen to you when you start talking about Black this and Black this? What in the world have you done? Now, let me tell you who can talk to me about Black things. Farrakhan can talk to me about Black things. Farrakhan is not an American born Black. And they say neither was Kamala Harris. Farrakhan does not have the credibility prop. Now, I'm not hating on Kamala. Hey, I'm proud of her that she ran. She did her thing. She did what she wanted to do. But I'm not a dope. Just because somebody puts something up in front of me, I don't eat it. I don't do that. So Kamala, she's Jamaican American. She's not African American. Farrakhan, who is Jamaican American. Farrakhan has no credibility problems with being black. None. I was born and raised in America, Bronx, New York, Detroit, and I would have to say that I would have to check my blackness at the door if I had to compare myself to Farrakhan. I'd have to check it at the door. Now, I'm not far behind, except that I don't play the violin. I do have two saxophones, but I can't play them either. Black community government, let's run through this thing here. And youth component. What's the basic requirement for our Black community government? I'm going to be calling on some of you guys to participate. It needs to be self-funded and a perpetual structure. We need to have our own money, and it needs to be something that goes on and on and on. Hence, Black community government. You already know what the government does. If it's based on the United States government structure, it's like a civics class, really. And that's going to frighten some people because we say Black community. You know, it shouldn't frighten you, because when I say Mexican restaurant, do you get afraid then? If I said Italian restaurant, no. If I said Muslim school, would you get terrified? Or Seventh-day Adventist school, would you be terrified? But if I say Black community, they even cause Black people in our community to be afraid of who we are. We're afraid to even talk about ourselves. I just don't want to be a punk like that, okay? I just don't want a punk like that. And you know who you usually find punking out like that? Is those people who make their money from white people. They're not going, they want to distance themselves as much as they can from the term Black, because they cannot afford to appear to be militant around the white benefactors. They can't. So they have to be relatively moderate. They can't say what I'm saying because they're dependent on the white dollar. Now, should they? No, that would be foolish. They need to do what they need to do to make sure they get paid and take care of their family. They really do, without selling their soul. You should read the book called The Rage of the Middle Class by Ellis Cose, Elliscose. Ellis Cose. I think it's called The Rage of the Middle Class. That's a good read for you. Let me keep going. So the basic requirement is that we need to be self-funded, so we don't have to depend on anybody giving us money. We have enough value within ourselves to generate our own money. I worked out the problem. I do have an MBA. I learned a little something. I hate to talk about the paper because it's just paper, because I know people with MBAs. They need to turn them in. The second thing is, the most critical task is staffing the positions. So we need to staff some positions, seating people in those positions. I'm going to make a request of certain people. The first people I'm going to approach Mr. Bill Russell, the one who sells automobiles in Houston, to be responsible for advising us in the area of transportation, because in our new Black city, we have transportation issues. One of the things that I want to do with Mr. Bill Russell is purchase 50 to 60 automobiles to redistribute to people to help in our new Black city. Why not you? So we need to seat these people. I'm going to call on Mr. Bill Russell. I'm going to call on Miss Lanita Hale, who's very active in nonprofits all around Houston. I'm going to ask her and John Marsden to sit with us on our nonprofit committee, to advise us on our nonprofit committee, because we need people to help us understand, where do we send the money? Where do we send the checks? And see, this is why Black political leaders, you don't have a shot in the dark. Because I'm coming to the table not asking for anything from these people, but delivering checks to their children and their families. And you're steadily pimping and sending $350,000 to people and $500,000 to this person and so many $1,000s to everybody else, and still begging for money. But all you ninjas got paid. What have my dear Black people in my community, what did they receive for all your effort? What do you mean you lost? You can't afford to lose. We can't have you lose. We can't lose. We must win. No such thing as we lost. Take that weak stuff somewhere else. There's a new sheriff in town. Now try to communicate to Black people if you think you can, but you don't have many people on the ground with real credibility. They have a lot of fake credibility. They do a lot of rhetoric, because nobody's really tore into their ass with that rhetoric like now. But we're going to purge. I'm going to tell you the purge list, right? I have a list here. So stick around. Your name might be on it. What is the most important secondary item? We seat positions is the distribution, I just mentioned it, of community funds. Because we have a large number of people participating, quite a bit of money flows through the budget. Those budgets are set up in a way that the people that work in certain areas generate budget for their particular concerns. People that work in another area generate budget funds for their concerns. It's their money. Now, how does the money get allocated? I just told you. We have to set things up to mirror the United States government. So let me just jump down. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to tell you how we set it up. What is the special problem? The special problem that we have is um, the special problem that we have is um, I see what it is. I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this. All right, here's the special problem we have. Rescheduling the black male boycott of the 2026 and 2028 elections, because the black male election boycott is on and popping as of January 1. So those of you that have any concern about not having to fight within your own party, because you will be fighting, these are the ideas and concepts. It's not me. When we put these ideas and concepts in people's minds, I'm an educator. I know how to do that. When we put these concepts in their mind, you're going to address them. So now the better thing to do, the intelligent thing to do, and I'm concerned because I know you all are not stupid people. I know you're not unintelligent. Most of you are not, but you're disrespectful because you don't respect your constituents. You don't. Until now. There's a new sheriff in town. Respect black people or pay the price. You will be removed. Now here's what we have. Here's the structure, real quick. And I just mentioned Lanita Hale. I mentioned Bill Russell. I'm going to mention Emilian White, who's in advertisement, who has a store in Sharpstown Mall, 3rd floor. It's called Fashions by Color. He didn't pay me to tell you this. You know why I'm telling you? Because I'm creating value. Now, if anyone knows Emilian, they're going to mention to Emilian that I mentioned his store, and he's going to contact me. I gave him value before he even gives me a dime. I will give you value before you give me a dime. You're going to give me a dime. I have to eat. I mean, that's simple. I have to eat. Now, I'm going to eat real well. But you know what I'm going to do with those multitude of dimes that I collect from you? The same thing I did when I didn't have that many dimes, when I put 10 people on an airplane and flew them to Miami and then put them on a 7-day cruise to the Bahamas at the majority my expense. Because that's what I do. I just spoke to another gentleman and he led me to develop this next project I'm going to tell you about. I just spoke to another gentleman who reminded me that I had helped him develop a business project for the purpose of paying off his child support. And he told me that he paid all of his child support through the project that I showed him how to do. Simple. He paid his child support. And his child support was very high. And this particular person was very tight with his money. So when he got hit with that high child support bill, I thought he's going to die just from looking at the bill. And I've got other friends and partners who are undergoing child support. So I know the best thing I can do for some of these black men is to help them to reduce their child support payment. How? By going and begging the judges and all them to reduce it? No, by giving you more money, make sure that you can pay for your bills. See, so Democratic Party, you black leaders, when we start talking about paying off some of these people's child support, they're going to listen to you. But right now, you're not talking about much of anything. Really, you're not. You really are not. But it's okay because your constituents are so used to low performance that they vote for you again anyway. So this is why they need some help purging you. They need some help getting you out of there. And most of you need to stay. There's one politician, I'm going to call his name now, in the city of Houston that I respect. I don't disrespect the others because I don't know them, but I respect. No, there's a couple I disrespect, but I don't know the bulk of them. But this is one that I really respect, and I have high regard and high level respect for him. Is it because he's an Einstein in his field? Is it because he's a super generous philanthropist? No, none of those reasons. It's because repeatedly I see this man with the television cameras at locations for the people in the city. I understand how important it is those television cameras and the broadcast are to those people. Very important. Donald Trump whipped the Democrats behind because he had earned media. He didn't have to pay for his media. Kicked you behind because people watch him because he's Donald Trump. And so now what we're looking at is these people here in the black community, because of this particular gentleman, they have earned publicity. I love that. And for that number one high priority reason for me, Ron Reynolds has my respect. Ron Reynolds has my respect. Now, let me tell you how much I respect him. We're going to boycott, we're putting forth a campaign to boycott the black males boycott the Democratic elections, all elections, because most of them not going to vote for Republican anyway, but boycott the Democrats, all Democrats, every Democrat that does not have a statement of some sort that's in public record on reparations. You're not going to keep putting this off. If you don't have a statement on, if you don't have a statement on, public statement on reparations, we're going to move your ass. Did I say that clearly? We're going to move your ass because you're not the leader. You're the servant. Now, the people want reparations, and you've done very little to make that materialize. I don't care how much you tried. It doesn't matter. I'm a Lions fan. We've been trying to get to the playoffs for years, but we didn't make it. Trying doesn't get you anywhere. This is not horseshoes. This is not hand grenades where close means something. Produce or move your ass. No, you don't have to move your ass because we're going to move you. I promise you. Here are the positions that we're filling that no elected black official can hold in the black community government. There is no place for elected black officials to sit on these government seats because this is a grassroots movement. You guys already have seats level and work with one another as a think tank, a black community government think tank, to figure out what we need to do. Now, some folks will say, well, why does it have to be black? It's because if it's not black and it's pink and yellow and green, or Hispanic mixed in and whites mixed in and Asians mixed in, then we're at the same place we were when we first started, trying to convince a whole bunch of other people who are good and decent people who do not have our concerns as the top priority. In the black community government, black people are the priority. Here are the offices that we need to fill. I mentioned those names, and I have a few other names I want to mention as well. Here are the positions. The first thing we need to do are build teams. So the teams that we're building are teams of mock officials for our community. So different communities, based on a variety of standards, will have council members. Those council members will probably they're the number one voting block for your local community. Because if there's $10,000 in your budget for your particular council for, let's say, it's Sunnyside, then those council members decide, what do we do with this $10,000? If it's $100,000 and there's no reason why it shouldn't be, what are we going to do with 10,000? That's cute. That's a tip. That's cute for a whole community just to raise $10,000. That's cute. It will be a joke. Council members, You will decide where that money goes for each community. Each community has their own council, not just a council member. Sunnyside has its own council. Third Ward or Acres Home has its own council. Sugarland will have its own council. And these are black people wherever you live. Fulshire would have its own council. Doesn't matter. Conroe has its own council of black people on their own community councils. The second group, these are all local, by the way. These are all local. The number two group that we need to have in place are mayors and deputy mayors. Sugarland have its own mayor, one mayor per local community, but we have a host of other deputy mayors to handle our business. So Sunnyside already doesn't have room, that has too much work to do for one person entitled mayor. So with that one mayor, he's executive mayor and working with 10 or 15 lieutenant mayors, deputy mayors who are being trained and taught administration, trained and taught leadership, being trained and taught how to function in the community and how to be a leader. They're in training. So it doesn't matter that there's 15 lieutenant or deputy mayors. We're not trying to do exactly what the United States government is doing. We're trying to train black people. Get out that traditional thinking. We've always done it this way. Sit down. So we'll show you a new way. Council members, mayors, deputy mayors, and finally, a group that I really know is critical to what we're doing, judges. Well, what do the judges do? When issues come up of concern and interest, it's really like a focus group. That's really all it is. If you happen to be a judge, then you could vote on a poll and people can see what does the community think on a poll that everyone can see. We have polls already set up and you're making a judgment. You can vote if you want to vote. You don't have to vote. But if your community has one judge, that one judge might vote and the money might end up, because of the money, it might be a money issue. That one judge might vote and money ends up going to his family or whoever, or his family business, because the rest of you did not participate. So you have to participate. That's what we need. It's participation, just not conversation. Take the conversation to the Democrats. And see, I'm hard on the Democrats because we have followed you for too long and we are reaping too little benefits. And I know all the wonderful things the Democratic Party has done. I'm down with that. Civil rights this, civil rights that, the marches this. I got it. I got it. But homie, what have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately? Oh my gosh. Let me get on with this thing. I'm down the road on this. So those are local level, not the state. At the state level, we have state reps, state representatives. Those are people that are working just like any other state rep would be in a number of state reps, but they work at the more like at the state level. There's more funding there. Our own funding at the state level. And then we have senators. Now remember, just imagine this, people. These are your children. I mean, these are your community members, yes, and your children too, that are being taught the political system of the United States government so they'll understand how it works. So when you start talking about, no, I'm not going to vote. See, I didn't vote this year. What the heck I'm going to vote for? I don't want to hear that garbage getting ready to tell me Democrats. I'm not going to vote. Didn't want to vote for you. I chose to vote for Cornel West, and I didn't go vote then either, mainly because I was in another state. But I wouldn't go. I didn't vote the last election. I'm not voting for you guys. I'm sorry. Don't bring me a steak on even if Kamala was a steak and she wasn't, don't bring it to me on the garbage can lid. Don't bring my steaks on the garbage can lid. And then she wasn't a steak. You used her. You misused her, but she's used people herself. So I'm not nice like that. She's gonna be the president. She's gonna have to take criticism. How dare you want to be the president and can't take any criticism? And don't try to tell me that it's because she's a female. She has a vagina. That's why we shouldn't say anything about her. No, there's stupid people with vaginas walking all around us every day. Stupid penises everywhere we go. So just because you're sex, you have a certain sex, and then we got stupid unidentified people. So your sex doesn't determine whether you have a real contribution to make to what we're doing, or you're going to be positive and productive for our community and my family, my neighborhood. It's got to do with your sex. The idea that black men wouldn't vote, or people didn't want to vote for a black female, y'all come off that trash. Come off that trash. You had the wrong black female. That was your problem. Hey Alex, man, I'm on the line right now. I'm broadcasting. Let me hit you back. My IT people working on the logos for the new black city. So I'm not hating on Kamala, and Kamala as an individual, as a person, I care about people. I apologize, but you're in a situation where it's going to be hurtful. You put yourself out there. It is what it is. I apologize for hurting you, but you put yourself out there. So at the state, we have state reps, we have senators who have different roles, responsibilities. We have judges at the state level as well, and we have governors at the state level. And guess what happens? We only have one governor per state and a host of lieutenant governors for the state. But those 50 governors compete amongst themselves to become a regional governor. That's over 7 states in their region. Those 7 regional governors, if things work like we expect them to work, will compete to receive a contract to be the black community government president with a salary of $100,000, excuse me, with the salary of $1 million paid out in 10 $100,000 increments. Or the person could take a lesser amount. Bottom line is, we're trying to put money in people's pockets. That's what we're doing, legitimately, without having to beg, borrow, or steal. We have too much value to leave it laying around. So that's basically the structure for building our teams. Next thing is the or more monthly, for being part of a mock government, having a lot of fun, making a big difference in their community. Um, oh, by the way, every one of them needs to have their own business, because one of the major parts of this whole project is that you're a business owner, so we can promote your business. So while I talked about Lanita Hale, she has a project called Shining Stars Leadership Academy. We want to put that name out there. I talked about John Marsden. I don't know what his business is. Yes, I do. He's recently married, so his business is making his wife happy. That's a joke, John. But he just left Belize. I like John's spirit. He lost a son, I think, in a murder situation. And so there's just something about seeing this black man continue to go on with the pain that he bears every day, but still out helping people. That's why I do what I do. This is for John Marsden. This is for a son I never met. This is for Lanita Hale. This is for Harold Hale, her husband. This is for all of you out there, whether you like me or don't like me. It doesn't matter. I'm not playing for likes. I don't give a doggone whether you like me or not. This is for the kids. This is for the children in these schools that are being miseducated. This is for our community. This is for everything that I've ever lived for in my life. And you know, the number one thing that is for my grandfather, who poured into me enough that caused me to want to do and be who I am and what I'm doing now. It's for Gramps. It's for the family. It's for you all who are my family too. So each one of these persons, the adult portion of our youth, of our government, should earn $500 or more monthly. That comes out to just over $5,000 extra a year. And I say 500 because if I told you that you can make 1,000 or 5,000 a month or 10,000 a month, you probably wouldn't believe me. That's why with our middle schoolers and through our Millionaires Academy, and we take our middle school moguls and our mini moguls, our middle school merchants, our youth entrepreneurs, certified as youth business specialists, put them in the CASH program, KASH, teach them knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. And then when you see a middle schooler walking around with a $10,000 income, call me then. But I can guarantee you it won't cost you the $20 that I'm going to charge individuals to be a part of the program. Keep your $20. Talking about, and every time you open your mouth to share with somebody, they're going to want to know what we're doing. Probably a good chance. Simple fee of $20, You don't have the registration number, therefore we can't send you a check. Okay, if you want to do that, that's you. But you're going to talk about you open your mouth and mention anything, my name or anything else, recognize you're doing the business. We build teams, earn income, we tell others. How do we tell others? Through the PAVS program, PAVS. P stands for print. We have a magazine. A stands for audio. We have audio radio shows. I've had over 100,000 people download my shows. That's not a lot of people, but it is for most of you, and this number's going to grow. And then we have V is video. Well, you're looking at the video. We also have television shows. We're working on producers. Um, this is a big project. Now let's get to the purge. In order for us to reestablish our Black community government, a mock government, and to have good direction, then we need to look at some things and evaluate ourselves to see where we are. So the first area we want to evaluate and purge are our city council members. Each one of the city council members, name by name, we need to listen publicly on TV, radio, however we need to do it. We're going to evaluate them with a set of criteria because we need to know are in the next election, or do we need to, kindly retire them? Whatever the decision is, that's what we want to decide, and then we'll get behind it and do whatever it is we decide. So the first people we need to look at are the city council members. I don't even know these city council members. I'm really glad because I heard some pretty decent things about quite a few of them. I'm talking about the Black ones. Don't ask me about the white and Hispanic. It's not my business right now. I'm talking about the Black ones. We're getting our team together. When I say replace them, I don't mean replace them with just anybody. We make sure we have somebody in the wings that we can replace them with. Um, so the city council members and any and all department leaders in the city of Houston that we decide needs to have an evaluation. Because if you are disrespecting Black people, we don't respect you. You're the enemy. And I don't know which one is worse. Yes, I know. Is it the Klan or is it you? It's you. Because you're disrespecting your own people. You're worse than the Klan. So we're going to deal with you. The second group of people are the state reps. I don't know any of the state reps. I only know one. That's Ron Reynolds. I think because Ron has been a very smart politician, I respect that. Because he's been around, I don't have any problem being evaluated and coming out as a person we want to continue to send to Austin. And I'm not promoting that because if I'm the only one saying that, and 99 others of you say that Ron needs to go, then I'm going to go ahead on and maybe side with you guys on that one. And the reason why I say maybe, I don't have a problem with being a leader and having to make decisions that are not popular. In fact, that's why Trump kicked y'all's behind. You're wussies. You don't stand up to say anything. You're not strong. You're weak. And so Trump just blasted you. He called people names. He mocked disabled people. He cussed. He imitated fellatio on TV. He's been convicted. He's a felon. And he basically said, F y'all, and took the government from you like little punks. He just said, F you. Replace the F with whatever you want to replace it with. So now, as I said, with Ron Reynolds, I think he's a keeper, in my opinion, standing from the outside. The rest of them we will look at and determine what we think. The girl Jasmine Crockett up in Dallas, we'll get with the Dallas people, contingency, and because I think she's a keeper. She has bigger balls than most of the men in Houston. Jasmine Crockett. I like that. I'm looking for the men mainly because this needs to be a male movement. The women aren't really having a problem advancing and going forward. And that's one of the reasons why they've taken over our communities, taken over our relationships. We have the women who are wonderful people, wouldn't trade them for the world. But in their mind, they think they're the men. They run everything. It has to be approved by them. I'm married. My wife can make 99% of the decisions, 99.5%. But that 0.5% is mine. as the man of the family. And though whatever it is that I decide, that's the law on that. Now, you might want to kick and scream and say it's 50-50, but that's probably why you're not my wife. Not that you'd want to be. But I cover the ground I stand on. 50-50, no, not 50-50. Doesn't work like that. Somebody's got to be a tiebreaker, and that has to be the man of the family. If if he can't break the tie, then he should abdicate that decision making to his woman, who probably can't break the tie, and it's cool as long as he's satisfied with that. But it's not going to be a demand. Come on, brothers, step up to the plate. Get your testicles back. So we said already, city council. I'm gonna tell you the number one target for our purge. The number one target. I'm saving it for last. Uh, State reps. Next group are local business owners. If your local black business owners are not treating you right, then you need to let us know, because we need to have good service from the local black business owners, or we just don't have to do business with you. That doesn't mean leave your restaurant and go to a non-black restaurant, find another black restaurant. So if you want business from black people, black business owners, like you're already doing, I'm preaching to the choir on this. Most of you already know. You have respect. Let's build up your businesses. I got some packages for you that you're going to really appreciate on our national black in our new city, new black city. Uh, we're looking for a dentist. We're looking for a real estate agent. We're looking for travel agents. We're looking for eye doctors. We're looking for schools. We're looking for all these things to be in our new black city. And I might as well go ahead and break this to you right now, so you'll understand. So you'll understand why we're looking for those people. Our new black city is virtual. It's virtual. Houston's our capital. Our new black city is virtual. And 1,000 other cities across the country are our suburbs. Suburbs. SUB under Herb City. They come under our city. So from the city of Houston, our capital, we will help organize and manage the new black city, which extends all over the nation because it's internet based. My MBA is in e-commerce. I know a little bit, just a little bit. I know enough not to have all this weight fall on my shoulders. And so to the Democrats, I don't have anything special for you as a party. Not at all. I only have respect for you as you relate to and are a benefit to the black community. Other than that, I wish you the best. But you won't see me going to the fishermen's convention. It doesn't mean that I hate fishermen. I just don't have any concern. So you Democrats, I have zero concern for your party, except as it relates to what you do, your fruits in the black community. Other than that, and that's true for the Republicans too. I don't mention Republicans because they're just too much of a white supremacist persona that I can't even figure out how I could be over there. I'd be over there in that group and constantly looking around, scared to death, just worried about because all the white people around me like that, and I like white people, and I'm kind of halfway joking because I'm just illustrating what it would be like if I was in a room or in a place with just ain't had nothing but white people. I'd be doing this, nervous as hell. Oh, wait a minute, that's the same thing I was doing if I was around a whole bunch of black people. People are people. Black idiots, white idiots, Asian idiots, Indian idiots, idiots. People are just people. Next group, local business owners. I got 3 more people I need to name. This it's really not hard for me, and I name it with great joy. The next group of people we want to purge are your local pastors. If your local pastor is not contributing, doing something positive and productive in the community, then we're going to try to inquire why and try to wrap our arms around them and help them to be more of a service to your community. Um, um, but we're not going to stand by and watch them be a social detriment to the community. I'm not even talking about loving Jesus and Christ and all that. That's a religious issue. I'm talking about the social issue. What are you doing for black people in this community? I don't care who your God is. That's you. I want to know what you're doing for black people in this community, so we know whether we should support you or not. So pastors, pimps, and players, we're going to have to stop and come out of that mental theological whoredom. Stop being little wussies. Stop just ripping off and robbing your community. Stop fornicating all over everybody. And I'm not even talking about with women. I'm just talking about chasing after all these false gods. Your politicians, your business owners, your money, and that's fornication. I'm not talking all the pastors, because there's some great pastors out there. Don't mistake me. There's some great pastors out there. I know one. I'm gonna have to call his name, Larry Collins. I see what Larry Collins does for his members. I try to tell him to stop giving so much, but he does. He can't help himself. I see him working in the community. And you know what's so impressive about that? Those are the things working in the community is what Jesus used to identify himself as the Messiah when John the Baptist was in prison and he sent his disciples to go ask Jesus in the book of Luke, are you the Messiah or should we wait for another? And Jesus said, follow me. And they watched everything Jesus did. And the Bible says he was healing and teaching and preaching in the community. Then he came back and he told his disciples, told John's disciples, now go tell John what you saw, not what I said, not your theology. Tell him what you saw. See, he didn't see the state of the dead, so we can differ on the concept of the state of the dead. He didn't see the second coming of Christ. We can differ on the second coming of Christ. He didn't see church structure. We can differ on church structure. He didn't see whether women should be preachers or not be preachers. He didn't see all of that. He didn't see any of that. What he saw was Jesus preaching and teaching and healing, and that was the identifying mark of the ministry of the messiahship of Christ. So you ninjas, for you to have some other identifying mark as your sign of your messiahship as the pastor in the church, if you don't have that, you're just a liar and a wolf in sheep's clothing and a false prophet. And I'm not the one that has the authority to designate you to be that, but it sure appears that the descriptions that the Bible gives fit you. Isaiah 121 says that the church leadership were whores. Read it, Isaiah 121. When you read Malachi, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there are 6 questions that are being posed in the book of Malachi. One of them is, will a man rob God? That's that tithe question. You hear it every week. Because you hear your jackleg preachers who either haven't studied or just know they can use that because you start tripping when you hear the word God. But you don't realize that if you read the book of Malachi, you'll see that those 6 questions, there are 6 times the church and the ministry, the priesthood, was being indicted. In the book of Malachi, it says you're bringing blemished offerings to the altar. You should shut down the doors of the temple. This is God speaking to his leadership, his church leadership. You guys are bogus. You're garbage. You're bringing a damaged or blemished burnt offerings to the altar. He said, shut it down. So every time you hear the pastor say, bring ye all the tithes in the storehouse, then you need to stop and realize that those verses were really meant for him and his crony, other pastors. I'm not talking about the good pastors. Get it right. I'm talking about them dogs out there in your pulpit. Love them, but I don't respect them. So we're coming to purge you pastors. That's going to be a hard one. But you need to be ready to just describe your fruit. So what are you doing in the community? That should be in your mission statement. It should be in your brochure. So we shouldn't even have to come and ask you. The second group, before I get to the first number 1 person on this list, is the Black Caucus. As you can see, I'm an elder. I'm an older Black man. But something in my spirit says, with all due respect to my elders who I love, and if I was talking to them one-on-one, I'd say the same thing, but at the same time, I'd also would respect them in general. But right now, I'm going to say, we need to bring a number of their old asses home. And I'm not disparaging because of their age. I'm talking about because they have not been effective. We lost. You lost. I didn't lose. I expected this. You lost. Now, here's the problem that I have with the Black Caucus. I wonder how many of them are not millionaires. I wonder how many of them went to Congress and now they're millionaires because they went to Congress. I wonder what their position is on them being able to vote their own salary, their own health insurance. I wonder what their position is on all those things that they can vote for that's different than the regular everyday person in the community, but they don't have to live under those laws. I wonder, the Black Caucus. I don't care what the White Caucus is doing because they're doing the same thing because you guys just pimping the community. But you Black Caucus members, don't give a damn what the white people doing over there. You better get your act together because we're purging you. Gotta go, gotta go. Baby kids. I'm only talking to the baby kids. I'm not talking to the whole Black Caucus. Much respect to you brothers and sisters who you know what I'm talking about. You know who the dogs are in the Black Caucus. You know who the thugs are in the Black Caucus. You know who the liars are and the schemers are in the Black Caucus. I don't know them. I'm just assuming that there's always, based on the bell curve, there are going to be a few A's, a few more B's, a lot of C's, a few D's, and even less F's. So in the Black Caucus, you got to have your few A stream, your A team, your B team. You got your C average Black Caucus members. Then you got your D going below average. Then you got your the final level. You got the dogs that for whatever reason they're still there. They need to go. So let's get rid of the dogs. And the number one person on our purge list, because you guys have been so slothful in responding. You've seen me for years. Not one of you, maybe one or two, has picked up the phone to connect. And I think that that's probably because you see in a skill set in me that you don't possess. You don't know how to lead these people. You don't know how to rally these people. That's not you. You don't know how to be direct enough that you can stomp on a few toes and still the person thinks that you love them, because that's what I do. I read my Bible in Ecclesiastes. It said the preacher saw the Koholeth. That's the Hebrew word, by the way. The Koholeth sought out words to use as goads. A goad is a sharp pointed stick that the shepherd would use to stick the sheep to get them going a certain direction. So God gave the preacher, the speaker, authority to find a sharp stick and poke the sheep in the ass. Black caucus sheep, right in the ass. City council members that are ineffective, right in the ass. I ain't talking about no sexual stuff. I'm talking about in that fat meat where it hurts. And the whole purpose of it is to get you to move. That's the whole purpose. So here's the number one target of our Black community government boycott. I'm willing to talk to two people to slow this thing down before January 1, because on January 1, it's going to be on and popping by January 1. That's just a few days away. It's going to be on and popping. Happy Kwanzaa. Okay. It's going to be on and popping. But there's two people. Democrats, I will only talk to Ron Reynolds. I will only talk to Ron Reynolds, and one other person that he wants to bring with him to the discussion. Let me put it like this. One other male state representative. I'm talking to the men right now. This is boys talk, ladies, who we love. But there's a time when the boys can get together and figure out what we have to do. So the brothers have to get together now, figure out what we have to do, because our lives are on the line. When the shooting and all this other crazy stuff starts, we're supposed to be standing up protecting the women. So what we have to do is figure out how we're going to do this. So Ron, somebody tell him he has an open invitation. My email address. You can find me on Facebook so we can get in touch. I think I have his number in my phone anyway already. I will talk to Ron. He's the only Houston state rep. He's the only Houston politician that I care to have a conversation with initially. January 1, the boycott, the national boycott of the Democratic Party by Black males goes underway. January 1. Now, if none of you have enough sense to even at least reach out and get a better understanding of what we're talking about in this strategy, then so be it. So be it. Now, who's the number one person that we need to talk to? I want to talk to Ron or Roland Martin. Roland Martin, let me be straight up. I support Roland Martin. I don't want to see any hurt, harm, or danger come to the show. I have made overtures to him to be willing to put money into the program. His program, I'm going to do that. At one time, I thought about having Roland responsible for our national media campaign, but I can't do that now. I can't do that because just like Barack tore his britches with the Black community, Roland has compromised his authority. With the $350,000 legitimate payment for advertising, which is legitimate, he failed to disclose it before he started talking to Kamala. And then what made it so terribly bad, I can deal with that. But when he got on the camera and started berating black men and black people in general for having a different opinion about Kamala Harris, not knowing that he was a paid hack. Come on, Roland. Dude, are you serious? Didn't I just tell you it's a new sheriff in town? Let me help you out, dude. You keep running the mouth about black people this, black people that, black people the other. You're gonna have to produce a few more fruits, because right now you've torn your britches. And the main reason is the arrogance to get on TV and say that the 350 you deserve it. Of course you deserve it. Who do you think you're talking to? Oh, you know who you're talking to. You're talking to a lot of your audience that doesn't have they're not really very much, they have very limited knowledge. So you can tell them that garbage and they'll start talking about 350,000 for advertising. He has a business, he should get that. Well, we already said that. But you failed to disclose. And for that, there's a price to pay. So Roland, make sure you understand there's a new sheriff in town. I've already contacted Boyce. Boyce has yet to respond, but he will. He has yet to respond. He's going to respond. I've already contacted Charlemagne and let them know to start watching what's happening in Houston, the Breakfast Club. Roland, man, no hatred, but dude, you don't want this smoke. You don't want this smoke, because anybody that disrespects the black community, I refuse to respect. I refuse to respect. So now here's where we can start talking about what we can do together to work together, because I don't respect I disrespect what you did so much. I'm willing to battle with you publicly until you make some changes. It's not a threat. It's a strategic promise. I think that's enough said. Speaking from the heart, if you heard anything else I said, be it known, I love our community. I love our people. I love our crackheads. I love our politicians. I love our pastors. I love our neighbors. I love our teachers. I love our engineers. I love our artists. I love our rappers. Now, a lot of them get on my nerves, but that doesn't mean I don't love them. Because I look at what black people have gone through for so long that I can almost excuse any behavior. But that does not mean that there are no consequences for the behavior. I don't want any harm to come to Roland. Roland, you need to get your act together and cover what I'm telling you that's going on right now. If you miss it, you're just going to look even more foolish because of this tape right here. I'm telling you, what do you want? Boyce is going to pay attention. Boyce says his show is for intelligent black people. He's going to pay attention. He's going to have to. He's talking, reaching out to black people. I know how to reach them. He's going to have to. It's called strategy. I told you, Democrats, I could help you, but I'm not coming over and get pimped by white people. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Charlemagne will get the message too. He's going to look over our shoulders and watch what's happening in Texas. He doesn't know. But you have to know how to make things happen, make things move. We're making some things move. Black men on the rise. You have my information. Anybody that would like frequent updates would need to go and register at www.getjobs.us. getjobs.us or .com, for opportunities to participate in the new Black City, which we can pay you. All right. Don't trust me. You don't even know me. If I were you, I would advise you to trust yourself. Trust yourself. In the meantime, share this with somebody, y'all. I'm going to be on the air this evening, talking about Daniel chapter 1 in a series of Bible study lessons on Daniel in the Revelation. Why am I going to talk about that? Tune in tonight and see. Oh, my bad. We're going to have a guest on tonight by Mr. Devon Bankett. and he heard me talk about some religious things, and he took some issues with it, and said he would love to come on the air and have a discussion. I don't have a problem with that. I already know there's nothing you can say that's going to beat what we're talking about. I took a long time studying this. I know the holes in his argument already, but he wants to have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. It's fun. It's joy. If I were you, I'd tune in tonight. If you don't catch it tonight, just tune in. It's gonna be all. It's gonna be preserved. So we'll talk to you later. Hey, you guys, love you. Let's do this thing. Project 2025.5. Black Men Rising.